Good morning. All right. We have some more people still coming in right now. So thank you everyone for joining us. We're just going to wait just another minute. We're very excited to kick off a beautiful meditation today and discussion. So hang out for just another minute, and on the screen you will see bios of the two presenters we have today, and I'll introduce them in just a couple minutes. All right, let's go ahead and get started because we only have 30 minutes this morning. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing the screen that has their bios and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have an amazing crowd of people on, and let me just open up a few things here. So really appreciate everyone joining in, and today I am joined with Krista Yap and Sarah Meyer Tapia, and in just a moment I will read both of their bios. So a little bit about me and why I'm here with you today. I am Lindsay Johnson, founder and CEO of FitPros. We are a workplace wellness service provider, and I'm very grateful that FitPros has worked with some of you on the line today. And for those of you we have not had the privilege to work with, please visit fitpros.com to learn more about our virtual services, our care packages, and future on-site activities when you are back in the office. During today's session, we welcome you to write questions that you'd like Sarah and Krista to answer in the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. And then also in the chat box, you'll see conversation. So we would just absolutely love for this to be very interactive. And so please just go ahead and chat how you're feeling today, where you're calling in or where you're joining us from. And the more conversations we can have, the better that'll help us customize this discussion to what you want to learn. So quick run of show. We're going to kick off with about 3-minute grounding meditation led by the lovely Krista. And then we're going to go into a brief discussion with questions and answers. So again, please keep those questions and answers coming in through the Q&A. And then we're going to go into a approximately 7-minute meditation led by the lovely Sarah. And then again, we will have some more discussion and answer your questions. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Krista Yap. She is a registered associate marriage and family therapist with Grateful Heart Holistic Therapy Center, and she is the co-founder of Kula Wellness. Her role as a therapist is guiding individuals to find their true and whole, authentic self through mindfulness-based approaches, experiential practices, yoga therapy, and other holistic modalities. She empowers individuals to find their true self from the inside out. As co-founder of Kula Wellness and yoga instructor, Krista enjoys bringing yoga to her therapy practices, as well as inspires her students to look deeper into their practice. And Sarah is an associate director in the Division of Health and Human Performance at Stanford University, overseeing the wellness education academic program for students. Her passion is educating the whole person for lifelong flourishing. An educator since 2013, she works in employee, student, and community well-being. Sarah provides coaching and teaching in the areas of stress management, mindfulness, self-compassion, and behavioral change, both Stanford and throughout the Bay Area. She earned her graduate degree in counseling and health psychology from Santa Clara University, and she is currently a PhD student in integral and transpersonal psychology. Wow, you guys are just rock stars. I am so excited for today. So thank you both for joining us. And what we're going to do right now, just to really jump in, I'm going to ask the lovely Jasmine, who is monitoring today's session, to launch our first poll. And what we're going to do, I'm going to read this poll to you, and then we'll jump into Krista's meditation. But what we'd really love to learn is what you would like to get out of today's session. Why did you join us today? So we've got self-compassion, manage triggers, mindfulness, and behavior. So if you wouldn't mind, please go ahead. We've got a few, Jasmine will keep that up for just another few seconds here. And then Krista, if you wouldn't mind going ahead and jumping into your meditation.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me here. Welcome. All right, we're going to start with just a quick 3-minute grounding meditation. So wherever you are, if you are sitting in a chair, on the floor, on your bed, just go ahead and get comfortable. And you're welcome to close your eyes if that feels good for you. If it doesn't, maybe find a soft spot to gaze at, something that's still, not moving. Take a moment to bring your awareness to your breath. And just notice your inhales and exhales out of the nose without trying to change the breath, just simply noticing what it feels like in your body. We'll start with a couple breaths together here. So letting go of all of that air through your nose. Take a big inhale, and then take an open mouth exhale, sighing everything out, letting go. We'll do 2 more just like that, inhaling through the nose. Open mouth exhale, let go. 1 more time, big breath in through the nose. And as you take that open mouth exhale, anything that doesn't serve you, begin to let that go. Coming back to a nice natural breath, a nice inhale and exhale through the nose. Bringing that awareness to your feet or your sit bone or your legs, however you're sitting. Starting to notice that lower part of your body, grounded, rooted into your chair, into the earth, into the seat below you. Send that awareness up through the torso, the belly, the chest, the lower back, the middle, the upper back. Maybe allow those shoulders to roll back behind you, melt them down the back. Carry that awareness down through the arms, the elbows, the forearms, your wrists, your hands, your fingers. Notice your back nice and long. Your spine maybe resting on a chair behind you, on the couch behind you. And send that awareness up to your neck, your head, your face, the cheekbones, the lips, the eyes, the nose, the ears, the crown of your head. And then bring that awareness from the crown of your head to the tip of the toes, noticing the entire body as is. Maybe a gentle smile forms on your face. We'll end here with the breaths together. Take a big inhale through the nose. Big exhale to release. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, let it go. Last one, take a big inhale. As you exhale, start to bring some life back to that body. Wiggle out through your fingers. Roll through those shoulders. Flutter your eyes open. Maybe take a gaze around the room just to reorient yourself back into your space. Thank you so much. I will hand it back over to Lindsay.
Thank you so much. Wow, it's amazing. When you got to my shoulders, everything went, huh. I love that. If everybody, if people wouldn't mind, go ahead and tell us how that made you feel. Anything you, especially in your body, did you feel anything release, or what did that feel like for you? Please go ahead and drop that in the chat for us. And looking at the poll, of the 4 things we mentioned about what you want to learn from today, triggers had the most response. At 38% of people would like to hear about how do I be less reactive. So that is really interesting. Very quickly followed up behind that, at 35% of people would like to learn about mindfulness and what and how do I need to do to be more mindful. So what's really exciting is that when we get into Sarah's meditation, she's going to make her meditations, touch on those points, and then followed by her meditation, we'll have another discussion. And so please, again, go ahead and keep the chat going in the chat box. And if you have specific questions that you'd like answered, put those in the Q&A that you'll find at the bottom of the screen. And before we hop into the second poll and Sarah's meditation, I would love to ask both Krista and Sarah a question about something I hear all the time is I have such a hard time meditating. I just can't calm my mind. So I would love to maybe start with Krista. Can you tell us, what would you recommend to someone that would say, I can't calm my mind?
So I feel like there's a common misconception of meditation being to calm the mind and being silent. I feel that meditation is actually about the feeling sensation and really being able to feel what's going on in your body and noticing what's happening, kind of bringing yourself alive. So if you do have that thought of this is supposed to be silent, I can't quiet my mind, that's totally okay. One of the things that I like to practice is just being able to bring that awareness back to my breath. It's the one point of focus, something that we always do. The breath is a constant thing. So being able to just come back to your breath, remember that it's there, and refocus yourself.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I'll jump on that. I love that triggers and mindfulness were like the top two, because mindfulness is how we become less reactive. So it goes together really well. And meditation is, I think there's a couple of reasons why it can feel so hard. One is just that it might be new, right? And so anything we do that we haven't done a lot of before is going to feel awkward and bumbly and challenging and foreign. And so sometimes it's just about the fact that we haven't developed that skill. You wouldn't pick up a classical instrument and automatically know how to play it. There's a lot of practice that comes before it feels natural and comes easily, and it's never perfected, right? So there's that, but also just naming what's going on in the world right now and in our lives. Meditation's challenging for most of us all the time anyway, but add in a global pandemic, and whether it's affecting your immediate life intensely or not, there's just a collective stress in the world that's very hard to not absorb. And even going to the grocery store takes extra energy. Everything is taking extra energy right now, which can make our capacity to be still and ground a little bit more challenging than it would otherwise be. So I think self-compassion is a really important place to begin with, like Krista said, normalizing that it's not about achieving unicorn rainbow land. It's just about being with what's here right now in a more skillful way.
I love both of them. Great responses. And I think one of the underlying things I heard from that, and this is something I'm very guilty of, is perfectionism. I think that we sometimes we're so hard on ourselves because we're trying to do everything so perfect. And when we can't calm the mind, we're like, why can't I get this? And so it's easy to give up on something when you're not achieving it, not feeling successful at it. So really great responses. Thank you both for that. So what we're going to do now, again, because we made this very short and sweet and to the point, because we want to get into another beautiful meditation led by Sarah. Also, again, encouraging you guys to write any questions in the Q&A and keep your chats going in the chat box. So if you have any opinions on what Krista and Sarah just mentioned, please go ahead and let us know. So we're going to hop into Sarah's meditation here. Again, mostly focused on triggers, how do I be less reactive, and mindfulness. And then we'll chat a little bit more about those after she's done. So Sarah, would you mind taking us into a brief, approximately 7-minute meditation?
Absolutely. Yeah, so Krista created that beautiful space. You can just let your eyes close again, or let your gaze fall somewhere soft and still. And find that place again that we just created through some conscious breaths, through some softening, through the whole body. Maybe just from the top of the head, allowing a sense of ease to start pouring over the whole body. Just softening the muscles of the face, unclenching the jaw, dropping the shoulders away from the ears. Softening the belly and the muscles of the pelvic floor, all the way down the legs to the toes. Just maybe 5% more ease, a little bit more calm. And even as we're letting our bodies relax a little bit more, we're going to breathe in a little energy, a little engagement in the body. So from the bottom of the feet all the way up, bringing a sense of aliveness and presence. So this isn't frantic, urgent, critical, judgmental, laser beam focus. This is a real calm, grounded presence. So even as we let our bodies soften and relax, we're engaging and we're holding a posture that just says, I'm here for this. So starting to play that sweet spot of calm, focus, that we can be at ease and really alert at the same time. And you might notice one of these two things you need more of this morning. Maybe you need a little bit more relaxation and unclenching. Maybe you need to wake up a little bit. So finding that edge and bringing in a little bit more of what you need to support what you're here to do, what you're here to invite and cultivate. And we're going to come back to the belly here. This is a place where we can start to follow some breath. We're going to begin by really softening the belly and even softening the base of the belly, the muscles of the pelvic floor. I'm going to close a window because my neighbors have yard work happening. And the reason why I'm inviting you to bring awareness to the base of the belly is because this is a huge connection point to the brain. So when our bellies are clenched and held tight, when our breath just stays up in the chest, this signal gets sent to the brain that really says, okay, this is life and death. It's time. Obviously, we're protecting ourselves. We're holding our bodies. There must be something coming at us. There must be some immediate threat. So the brain really shuts down anything that would get in the way of immediate survival. So there's no time for compassion. There's no time for taking perspective. There's no time for considering multiple options. Our immune system shuts down, our digestive system shuts down, our sexuality shuts down. When we're in imminent threat, there's no time for any of that. That's a really hard way to operate through life. When we're breathing that shallow, clenched, held breath in the chest, that's how our brains are trying to operate, which is why we get reactive when we're triggered, because our brains are literally not on. The part of our brain that takes perspective and considers other people's points of view and has compassion toward ourselves, that's not even activated. When we breathe deeply from the belly, when we open the chest and soften the front body, this is a really vulnerable posture. This is where our vital organs are housed. So to expose this front side body is to tell the brain we must be safe. There's nothing coming at us right now in this moment. And so the brain can turn on the compassion and the empathy. The brain can access immune function, and our bellies can digest food, and we can take steps back and see the big picture. And we know that we can think about it for a while before acting, because there's no urgent need to figure it out right now or somebody dies. All of this to say, this breath in the belly is what gives us the parts of our brain that we need to face whatever is in front of us. And this is mindfulness, to be right here in this moment. The magic of the breath is that, as Krista said, it's always breathing. And it's always happening in this body that is always in the present moment. Our minds are rarely in the present moment, but our bodies always are. So to bring awareness to the breath is to instantly arrive in this moment right here. And in this moment right here, everything's okay. We might be really troubled over what just happened, and we might be really concerned about what's going to happen next. But right here, right now, in this moment, everything is okay. So as we bring awareness to the breath in the belly, we arrive. And as we soften and deepen that breath in the belly, we turn on the parts of our brain that we need to meet the present moment in a more skillful way. So just taking a couple deeper breaths here, letting the breath come all the way into the body and just fill up the belly. knowing however you are in this moment is the perfect teacher, because you'll meet it with more of who you truly are. On the next exhale, wiggling fingers and toes again. Letting the body shift and move in whatever feels good. Stretching, letting the eyes flutter back open. Folding back into the circle.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much for that. It's quite interesting. Before you even got started, a lovely person, Jocelyn, had posted in the Q&A, how do you cut off external distractions, mostly noise?
Close the window.
Meditate. How funny is that? I truly believe that everything happens for reasons, and that came in before you started. And so I think that's an exceptionally interesting point, is you just have to bring it back. And just like you did, you brought us back to our belly and to our breath, and to fill up the belly with air and to let it go. And I think I'm gonna pose that question to both of you in just a moment, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about the first poll. But first, I'm gonna have Jasmine, if you wouldn't mind, launching the second poll. And the second poll here is, what holds you back from meditating? So if everyone wouldn't mind, go ahead and answer the poll that just popped up for you. We've got no time, it feels too hippy dippy, distractions, or I can't clear my mind. So go ahead, and we're going to keep that up for just a few minutes while I turn it back over. Let's go back to Krista. Krista, let's answer Jocelyn's question quickly. Turning off external distractions. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that?
You know, I actually, whenever there's any kind of external distraction, I bring it into my awareness, I notice it, and, you know, with the breathing out, with the exhales, with the letting go, I also imagine that quieting, that softening. If there's a car outside, that wherever I'm meditating, I'm hearing the cars drive by, I notice it, I hear them pass by in that silent moment. You know, at every point there is a little bit of silence that you have, a little bit of time to go inside, to reflect. And it's that tether, that ebb and flow of something is always going to enter my mind, but I have the ability to acknowledge it, know it's there, and then move past it, move into the next thing.
That's huge. And I think you answered, you also touched on the mindfulness component there. So thank you for that. Sarah, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, I love when those distractions pop up, especially while I'm teaching, because we're not here to practice perfect, quiet existence. Like, that's not life. We're here to practice for life. That's why we sit. And so real life is noisy. And can we stay grounded where we are in the midst of what else is going on? So when that happens, my attention can either go live over there with the gardener, or I can stay here and be aware that that's happening, but stay here. And that's just like, that's the skill I want to have in my day-to-day life. So I think those distractions are beautiful opportunities to strengthen that muscle.
I love that. I love that. And that actually was the top response from what holds you back. Again, is distractions. And one of the things, I did my yoga teacher training with a lovely teacher named Kia Miller in India 7 years ago. And one of the things that was taught to me was to kind of think of it as elf on the shelf. And so you see the elf, and then you put him on the shelf. I don't know why that visual for me was like, I take him and I put the elf on the shelf. And so maybe maybe there's some, is there a mnemonic device for either of you that when you, that you bring it back and you bring back the mindfulness, and you maybe, or any other tips that you have to tune out the kids, the spouse, the work, other distractions? Krista?
One of my favorite phrases is control the controllables. So as a mother, for the people who resonated with the kids being a distraction, when my son was little, it didn't matter what time, I got up in the morning, he would wake up too. We just had a connection. So I wasn't going to have long sitting meditations in the morning. So when he was really little, I decided he would be my morning meditation. And I would just sit on the cushion. But if he wanted to walk in circles around me or show me his trucks or talk to me, I would just be present with him. Meditation is not sitting with our eyes closed chanting Om. Meditation is knowing what we're doing while we're doing it. So that can be meditation. Now that he's older, what I can control is telling him this is my time and space for this, telling my husband, I can control certain things, but the situation doesn't have to be perfect for us to be able to practice meditation.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And Krista, quick, as a studio owner, you have a yoga studio, so you have people probably writing you all the time, inquiring about classes, or teachers, asking you questions. So how do you, Pete just wrote in the chat box that it was awesome, but he stopped to answer an email in the middle of the and it happens, like that's life.
Mm-hmm.
So Krista, what do you do when those things pop up?
Yeah, kind of what I was talking about earlier, it's, meditation isn't necessarily about the calming of the mind. It's noticing what's going on, bringing awareness to the mind, the body, the heart, the soul, and then offering space for whatever you need, but also asking yourself, why? Why am I going to do this right now? Why am I going to answer this email? What is it about sitting with this, these feelings, this meditation, this practice that maybe feels uncomfortable and is making me want to go somewhere else or making my mind want to wander in another direction.
Thank you. Absolutely. And we are at 9 a.m. So we did make this a 30-minute conversation because we knew that many people had to get back to their Did I get cut off?
Yes, you're back now.
Okay, sorry about that. Wow, we did make this a 90-minute conversation or a 30-minute conversation because we knew that many people had to get back to their day. However, this is a beautiful conversation. If you'd like to stick with us for a few more minutes, we're gonna continue chatting. And the next question I'd love to kind of pose at, we'll start with Sarah. What would you give to people, what would you suggest to people that have a meditation practice and they want to advance their practice? Is there anything that you would recommend to them?
The main things that come to mind with advancing practice is continue to practice, because we've never arrived. And sometimes when we sit with what we think is the same old thing long enough, we realize that there's endless capacity. Having a teacher that's been a beautiful part of me developing my practice, exposing myself to different teachers, going on retreats. I don't know, Krista, if there's anything you'd want to add. This is really your wheelhouse too.
Yeah, I would piggyback on that as well. A lot of my practice was deepened with my teacher that, she was also a therapist that I practiced with. And then going to yoga teacher trainings, whether or not I was going to be certified or not, or take this as a journey to teach. It was a beautiful healing journey for myself to dive in, to deepen my practice as a yogi, and doing those retreats, finding some space to just really, take care of your needs.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Well, we really appreciate everyone joining today. It is May Mental Health Awareness Month, and so we really wanted to bring this meditation to people and help destigmatize the assumptions that we have to quiet the mind, or we have to shut off all distractions in order to be with ourselves and to calm ourselves. And so I hope that you learned some tips and tools today from these amazing teachers, Krista and Sarah, who have so much to offer and share. And so at the end, you'll see a slide that has their contact information. You also get a follow-up email if you'd like to schedule a one-on-one with both of them. So we're going to pop that up right now. And if you'd like to have either of them speak at your company, please email us at hello@fitpros.com. And stay tuned. On June 3rd, we have speakers coming up to talk about how to crush your goals. And then also on June 10th, I'll be speaking to at a virtual webinar or seminar on building culture through leadership. And so really appreciate everyone joining today. Send us your questions, your comments. If you'd like to see more of these, we'd love to hear from you on that, and continue meditating and taking care of yourself. Anything else, Krista or Sarah, would you like to say anything else?
Just thank you guys so much for having us. I really enjoyed it this morning, and I hope you enjoyed the meditative practice.
Yes, thank you. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful day. We'll just keep that slide up there for a couple minutes. But Krista and Sarah, thank you so, so much. Have a wonderful day, and I hope you can get out into the sunshine a little bit.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you.
Guys.